I never thought a driveway could turn into a battlefield. But when you live in a neighborhood ruled by a homeowners association and one woman decides she's the self-appointed queen, you learn how fast peace can vanish. It started with something small. A white Mercedes parked just enough across my driveway that I had to twist my steering wheel and inch back and forth just to get out. The first morning, I thought it was an accident. The second, a coincidence. But by the third, when I found a note on my windshield that said, "You should park more neatly, this neighborhood has standards," I realized it wasn't an accident. It was war. Her name was Karen, and she lived 3 houses down. Blonde bob, pink suit, sunglasses even on cloudy days. The kind of person who called the cops on kids selling lemonade because their stand wasn't HOA approved. At first, I tried to stay polite. I left a note saying, "Please avoid blocking my driveway. Thanks." She replied by tearing it up and leaving the scraps under my wiper. Then she started parking even closer, half her car practically in my lane. The smug smile she gave when she saw me trying to back out told me everything I needed to know. The HOA didn't help. They said they couldn't intervene in minor parking disputes. The local police shrugged. "It's a civil issue," they said. I was trapped between the rules and a woman who believed she was the rules. Weeks passed, and every morning became a test of patience. I woke earlier to avoid her. I parked further down the street. But she always found a way. Once, I came home to find her car parked fully across my driveway. Doors locked, nowhere to move. She wasn't even home. I missed a doctor's appointment that day. That night, as I sat on my porch staring at the empty street, something in me snapped. It wasn't anger. It was exhaustion. The quiet kind that builds up behind your eyes until it burns. I realized being nice only gave her more room to bully. So I decided if she wanted a game, I'd play. The next morning, I went to work early. I wasn't even angry when I saw her car already sitting across my driveway again, taunting me like a white flag I couldn't move. I just smiled. Because I had a plan. I started with research. I found out Karen's Mercedes had expired registration. Her inspection sticker? 2 months overdue. And most importantly, she had 3 outstanding HOA fines for trash cans left out overnight. All things she'd never imagine anyone knew. I didn't call the police. I called a towing company, but not the regular kind, the kind that works with property management. I told them the HOA requested a removal for a repeated violation of parking and expired tags. I gave them the car's details and address. At 10:42 a.m., I stood at my window as the tow truck pulled up. The driver checked the tags, shook his head, and within minutes, Karen's prized Mercedes was hooked up and rolling down the street. That evening, she came storming down the sidewalk shouting my name. Her face was red, her voice sharp enough to slice through the air. "You had my car towed," she screamed. I looked her right in the eyes and said calmly, "No, Karen, the HOA did. You might want to pay your fines." Her mouth opened and closed like a goldfish, but she couldn't form a word. For once, silence lived where chaos usually did. The next few days were quiet, peaceful even. No car in front of my driveway, no notes, no harassment. She started parking neatly in her own spot, and the smugness that once floated around her seemed to dissolve. But the real twist came a week later. I got a letter from the HOA. It said, "Due to repeated reports of harassment and rule violations, Ms. Karen last name has been removed from the HOA board. Thank you for bringing these matters to our attention." I didn't bring anything to their attention. But someone must have. Maybe one of the neighbors she'd terrorized for years finally spoke up. Maybe she pushed too far with someone else. Or maybe karma just decided to clock in that week. That night, I stood at my window again, watching the empty space where her car used to be. For the first time in months, I didn't feel trapped in my own home. I felt free. You see, the thing about people like Karen is they feed on reaction. The moment you stop feeding them, they starve. But sometimes you need to show them what silence feels like when it's not submission. It's justice. I didn't ruin her life. I just stopped letting her ruin mine. Now, every morning when I back out of my driveway, I pass that quiet patch of road where her Mercedes once sat, and I smile. Because sometimes making someone's car disappear isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming your peace. And that's the thing no one ever tells you. Peace doesn't come from winning the war. It comes from realizing you were never meant to fight it in the first place.